I've been watching her for a long time, and today is my first invitation. A ship maiden, as mysterious as rumored. Some charming, but also some dangerous. But in the commander's hunting, searching is not the only purpose. At such a distance, she is more attractive than she looks. Is she also looking for someone? I have some doubts. In this game, every commander will lie, but the ship mother won't. Everyone has a past, and the past has created the present. Some people indulge in the past, while others focus on the future. So I'm planning to take action. I need to know, is she the person I miss so? Are you planning to salvage the ship? No, it's not salvaging the ship, but recognizing each other. If lucky, she will be the first. Besides her, I also need to search for my over 300 girls. If nothing unexpected happens, they are scattered around the world and also searching for me. This is a two-way journey of recovery, we wait and see. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. 1. Prince Eugen, do you recognize me? You are listening at novel full.audio. I've been watching her for a long time, and today is my first invitation. A ship maiden, as mysterious as rumored. Some charming, but also some dangerous. But in the commander's hunting, searching is not the only purpose. At such a distance, she is more attractive than she looks. Is she also looking for someone? I have some doubts. In this game, every commander will lie, but the ship mother won't. Everyone has a past, and the past has created the present. Some people indulge in the past, while others focus on the future. So I'm planning to take action. I need to know, is she the person I miss? Listening to the words of this person named Qingshi, the passerby commander felt that he was talking like a riddle. However, this commander ultimately extracted his more sensitive information from these words. Looking at the ship woman who had just walked out from the front entrance of the Maritime Safety Bureau, the passerby commander's expression was somewhat conflicted. So, are you planning to salvage the ship? Qingshi smiled mysteriously, without shaking his head or nodding. No, it's not salvaging the ship, but recognizing each other. If lucky, she will be the first. Besides her, I also need to search for my over 300 girls. If nothing unexpected happens, they are scattered around the world and also searching for me. This is a two-way journey of recovery, we wait and see. And this time, Qingshi has a strong premonition that he will not face the same misunderstandings and awkwardness as before. This time will be his true starting point. Thinking of this, he tidied up his collar and took care of his appearance. Wish me good luck. After saying these words to the commander who accidentally met a passerby, Qingshi walked with firm steps towards the other side. His pace was fast, and he quickly intercepted the ship's mother before long, standing on her path or in front of her. With a standard polite and gentle smile, Qingshi took the lead in greeting. Prince Eugen, do you still recognize me? There are many warships in this world, as well as many princes of Eugen. Just like there are no two identical leaves in the world, even if they are both Prince Eugen, they can only be said to have similar appearances, not exactly the same. However, there are some notable features that Prince Eugen has, and most of them do. For example, a stunning face, graceful figure, silver long hair with double ponytails, and a prominent red highlight on the forehead bangs. It was precisely because of these prominent characteristics that Qingshi determined that this ship lady was Prince Eugen. As for whether it is Prince Eugen from her own port area, it depends on her next reaction. Qingshi's appearance was somewhat sudden, and his voice was also somewhat abrupt. However, for Prince Eugen, who had been haunted by his dreams for 3 years and had not heard this voice, it was like a rock-shattering shock. It has been 3 years, and her commander has been missing for a full 3 years. Over the past 3 years, she and her companions went from frantically searching everywhere at the beginning, to frantically searching in the middle but unable to find anything, and then to searching again and again, feeling disappointed and numb, but in the end, they still didn't give up on that small hope. Yes, hope, what a precious word. For such a long time without any news, if it weren't for the complete disconnection between the commander and the ship mother, she would have thought that her commander had died. What should the commander do if she really dies, or if she never appears? This question was also considered by Prince Eugen, as he fled in the quiet of the night and felt anxious. The answer is probably, accept the harsh reality, and then choose a sea area with relatively beautiful scenery to sink quietly, right? However, to her surprise, she heard this familiar voice in a situation completely unexpected by Prince Eugen. With a sudden tremble in her body, Prince Eugen immediately stood still. Her heart was howling and chaotic, and her breathing was trembling. She slowly looked up at the person in front of her. It's him, yes, it's his own commander. He's really his own commander. Confirming that the face in front of him was the one he had been thinking about day and night, and also confirming that the breath in front of him was a familiar one, Prince Eugen's heart not only did not calm down, but also fell into greater chaos and excitement. Her heart was pounding wildly, her eyes fixed on Cheng Shi without blinking, her fists instinctively clenched, and her body instinctively tightened. Finally, Prince Eugen smiled and answered Cheng Shi with some resentment and some mockery. Of course I recognize you, even if it turns into dust, I do. My bastard commander. In fact, even when Cheng Shi saw Prince Eugen's body stiffening and expression in front of him, he was already 9% certain in his heart. This should be my own Eugen Prince, or in other words, this is the Eugen Prince from my previous game port area. If it weren't for her, she wouldn't have this reaction, nor would she be so excited. Especially when Cheng Shi gazed at Prince Eugen's brown pupils, and through these jewel-like eyes, he saw her heart howling like a typhoon, and he confirmed this even more. After confirmation, Cheng Shi breathed a deep sigh of relief. Great, that's really great. Having traveled to this world for 4 months, experiencing so many failures and regrets, I finally found my first girl. The feeling of finally achieving what he had hoped for, while also regaining what he had lost, filled his previously empty heart to the fullest, which was very appropriate. Amidst Prince Eugen's complex gaze, Cheng Shi breathed a deep sigh of relief and revealed a heartfelt smile of relief and joy. Great, Prince Eugen, it's really you. Although his heart was still complex and indescribable, upon hearing Cheng Shi's words and seeing his reaction, Prince Eugen still felt a bit confused. Ha! Shouldn't I say that? It disappeared inexplicably, disappeared for 3 years, and then inexplicably appeared again. Speaking of which, Prince Eugen's anger and grievances constantly surged up in his heart. Bastard commander! Where have you disappeared in the past 3 years? Why do you appear now? Do you know how sisters in the port area have lived in the past 3 years? Do you know how I have lived in the past 3 years? Do you know how much damage your disappearance has caused to everyone? While accusing like this, Prince Eugen's fists involuntarily clenched even tighter. Listening to these complaints, Cheng Shi knew that his own girl had suffered a great deal of injustice. He felt very uncomfortable and was enveloped in a huge sense of guilt. At the same time, he also noticed Prince Eugen's clenched fist. Considering the huge physical difference between humans and the ship mother, as well as the unstable emotions of Prince Eugen in front of him, Cheng Shi felt a bit uneasy. I did apologize to the girls, but if Prince Eugen couldn't control his emotions and really punched me, I'm afraid I would have eaten on the spot. No, I have to do something by myself. It's better to start first than to suffer later. Without further ado about Prince Eugen's incessant accusations, Cheng Shi hugged him step by step without saying a word, spreading his arms and tightly embracing Prince Eugen's delicate body in his arms. When suddenly embraced by the commander he had been longing for, Prince Eugen felt a bit limp all over. Her eyes were wide open, and the various grievances in her heart were like a pricked ball, rapidly leaking air, while her mind was blank. In a blank space, Prince Eugen began to seriously contemplate a question. This seems to be the commander's first time holding me, right? Surprisingly. It was in such a reunion situation. Does this bastard commander think that with this hug, all these things can be written off? What a beautiful thought. Although that was the case, and although he thought so in his heart, Prince Eugen's originally intense excitement was still in a state of disarray. Her eyes flickered and her voice inevitably softened. In the end, she couldn't hide her emotions and reached out her hands to pick up Chingshi. At the moment when he was hugged, Chingshi breathed a sigh of relief in his heart. Of course, the attitude still needs to be expressed, and he sincerely apologizes to Prince Eugen. Sorry, Prince Eugen, it's my fault that you've been worried for so long. But now, I'm back. Prince Eugen gritted his teeth, but in the end, he simply vented his resentment. What an excessive commander. Kneeling to beg for flowers and monthly tickets to reward. The previous book was impenetrable. Brothers, please support this book. Kneel down and beg. 2. Causes and Consequences. You are listening at novel full.audio. There are countless commanders in this world, and Li Yan is one of them. On that day, he brought his ship mother to the Maritime Safety Bureau of Shanghai City in Donghuang to handle affairs. The matter went smoothly. His ship mother finished at the Maritime Bureau, while he himself was a smoker and came out alone to breathe. During the process of ventilation, Li Yan noticed a person outside the Maritime Bureau, who had been observing the entrance of the bureau, sneaky yet open. Based on intuition, Li Yan believed that this person should be his colleague and also a commander. Because this person's gaze is very familiar to him, it's clearly the gaze of salvaging a boat. There are many free ship women working or commissioned in the Maritime Bureau, and this is indeed the best place for many commanders to salvage ships. It's rare to meet a colleague whom Li Yan doesn't know, so he went over friendly and had a few conversations with him. Through discussion, Li Yan learned that this person's name is Chingshi and he has been staying near the Maritime Bureau for some purpose. Oh, for some purpose, those who speak with great eloquence are just here to salvage the ship, aren't they? I've seen so many people like this. Just as Li Yan was interested in continuing the conversation with him, this person's goal emerged. Li Yan looked around and was somewhat surprised to find that this person's target was actually a Prince Eugen. Hiss. This is Prince Eugen. Golden Leather Patrol. Extremely rare. This kind of ship girl is not ordinary and difficult to catch. This old man named Chingshi has little hope of salvaging the ship, Li Yan judged in his heart. He watched Chingshi take the initiative to walk over, intercept Prince Eugen, and initiate a conversation with Prince Eugen. He also saw Prince Eugen's expression noticeably displeased after being intercepted. Sigh. I'm still young. How could I catch a boat with this straight ball attack? After this old man fails, I will comfort her well, and pass on a few hands to him. No, Prince Eugen was visibly angry. Wait a moment. This guy actually took the initiative to carry it up. Faced with the unfamiliar ship mother who was caught for the first time, she was so reckless. Is he not afraid of Prince Eugen getting angry? Is he not afraid of being punched and vomiting blood? Damn it. Damn it. I'm afraid there will be a bloody incident today. It's broken, it's broken. Prince Eugen reached out his hand, both hands extended out. Are you going to give him an over-shoulder throw? Oh, it's not an over-shoulder fall, but what? Prince Eugen hugged him. How could Prince Eugen hold him? How could this be possible? For a moment, Li Yan opened his mouth wide, dumbfounded and speechless. The smoke in his mouth fell to the ground, leaving him incredulous and presenting a lime-like color and state. Fishing boat. Successfully salvaged. How was this salvaged? Take a direct attack, intercept directly, say a few words and you'll be successful. Are you teasing me? At this moment, the commander named Li Yan's mind was filled with the words impossible. Ah, that's right. To outsiders, this was indeed a smooth and outrageous salvage operation. I don't know what kind of bad luck this person had, but he succeeded in catching it. He still caught an extremely rare ship like Prince Eugen, which is truly enviable, jealous, and hateful. But when his own family spoke their own words, only Qingshi knew what was going on. He was not just a fisherman, but recognized his original mother. I don't know what's going on. 4 months ago, when I woke up, I was dressed in this world with a blue worldview of a ship woman. When I first arrived at the treasure trove, I was penniless and only dressed in clothes, which can be described as tragic and miserable. After spending half a month firmly supporting himself, Qingshi began to think about his future path. Take it as it comes. If you are at ease, then your heart will move towards it. What is the meaning of moving towards the heart? It's just a ship girl. We have all come to this magical world. How could Qingshi be content without meeting the beautiful ship girl, knowing these sea elves, and trying to become a commander? Just as he had such thoughts and aspirations, a vague intuition infected him, and he immediately realized that something was wrong. Before crossing the river, he had also read many novels about ship maidens, among which the most familiar one to him was the return flow. What is a return flow? Simply put, it's about traveling to a world with a ship girl. I thought I was alone when I crossed over, but who knows that this world was originally the one I played in my game before I crossed over. That is to say, there are so many ship girls and girls in the game port area, all of whom are real in this world. But before, I didn't actually exist in this world. And due to various reasons, I uninstalled the game or exited the pit before a period of time. The specific manifestation in this world is that the commander in the eyes of her own ship mother suddenly disappears, the port area disappears or is destroyed, and the ship women are in chaos, searching everywhere for the commander, but they can't find it no matter what. Of course not, their commander is not even in this world. Fortunately, I have now traveled here. However, as he traveled through time, he didn't know about it and lived aimlessly. Finally, at some point in time, a coincidence of fate occurred, and a former ship mother accidentally discovered him. She reunited with the commander and staged a touching plot. Next, it is time for the navigator to fully shoulder the responsibility of the commander, retrieve the scattered ship women one by one, rebuild the Grand Harbor area, and ultimately live happily together. The so-called return flow is probably like this. When Qingshi realized this, his scalp tingled. I don't know where my intuition came from, nor do I know where my premonition came from. Qingshi couldn't help but believe that he had encountered a similar situation. In other words, the ship girls in my mobile phone game, my beloved girls, are waiting for me in this world and searching for me everywhere, persistently searching and never giving up. The reason for my withdrawal from the pit was probably 3 years ago, due to various factors such as life pressure. Yes, everything is right. The background was aligned and the character was also aligned, which made Qingshi incredibly certain that he was facing this kind of situation. So what should we do next? Step by step, waiting for a girl from my family to meet me again by chance, and then understanding my responsibilities as a commander, I will once again find everyone to rebuild the port area. It is certain to regain everyone and rebuild the port area, shoulder the responsibility of commanding, and live happily with so many girls in our own family. But having realized this, I cannot be passive and wait for that chance encounter. My own girls are wandering around the world, anxiously searching for me for 3 years like a day. How could I have the face to wait quietly for fate to happen here? You must take the initiative. Take the initiative to find it. Being able to advance one day is one day. If we can meet in advance, we will naturally meet. That's the girls he values, making them worry about him makes him feel guilty and self-blaming. Cheng really can't bear to wait any longer. So, after traveling for half a month, Qingshi officially took action. He worked to earn money to support himself while searching for information about the more powerful free ship mothers along the coastal towns. So, 3.5 months have passed. During this period, Ching-Shi did indeed hear some news and clues, and even found several well-known free ship women. Unfortunately, none of them belonged to his own family. Of course, the process of searching is also a process of psychological torment. Because Ching-Shi basically embarked on this journey with a hot brain, the reason he made this decision was partly due to the novel routines he had read before, and partly due to this elusive intuition. He didn't know where this intuition came from, and he chose to believe it, but also worried that it was just an illusion. Everything was just empty, everything was his own delusion. The ship girls in his game and those girls were not even in this world. He is particularly worried, he is very worried. Fortunately, today, all worries have completely disappeared. He met one of his own ship maidens, Prince Eugen. Confirming that it is one's own girl is beyond doubt. The bond and connection between the commander and the ship mother in this mysterious world cannot be fake, and the relationship between oneself and Prince Eugen cannot be fake, especially. Prince Eugen's complex emotions and passionate love for oneself cannot be fake. Right now, Ching-Shi needs to face Prince Eugen's questioning. So, can you tell me where you've disappeared in the past 3 years? Ji, Wei, Guan, looking at Prince Eugen sitting next to him, smiling and looking at him, but his aura began to become dangerous and uncertain, a layer of cold sweat broke out on Ching-Shi's head. Difficult. Difficult to handle. Kneeling to beg for flowers and monthly tickets to reward. Kneel down and beg. 3. The nightmare-like past. You are listening at novel full.audio. At this moment, in the garden in front of the Maritime Bureau, Ching-Shi and Prince Eugen casually chose a bench to sit down on each other. After calming down the excitement of reuniting after a long separation, Prince Eugen finally smiled and asked the question he had just said. Feeling deeply perplexed, Ching-Shi looked at Prince Eugen's brown eyes and felt the enchanting and dangerous light within them. He couldn't help but start thinking back, what kind of personality was Prince Eugen in his game? It's not that kind of gentle and watery personality, nor is it that kind of straightforward. If you have to describe it, it's probably unpredictable and very variable. This kind of personality is not as dangerous as Qi Dafeng, but it is also very difficult to deal with. If one accidentally reduces their favorability, it will be a small matter, and if this reunion after a long separation is directly ruined, it will be a big problem. So Ching-Shi began to use his brain crazily, thinking about how to answer. Eugen, I can explain. Prince Eugen sat next to Ching-Shi, holding her fragrant cheeks in her jade hand and showing a charming smile. Her expression seemed to be saying, "Come, start your performance, I'm listening to your sophistry." At this moment, Ching-Shi's heart had a premonition of pulling out the cold, and he finally thought of some settings about the ship's mother. As an elf awakened on the sea, the most beautiful existence in the world, the ship mother has the ability to discern human hearts and also perceive truth and lies. Although I am the commander of Prince Eugen, if I really try to deceive her, she will definitely find out. So lying at this time is definitely the next choice, the only option is to treat people with sincerity. It is okay to vague the past in unclear areas, but absolutely not to lie. After pursing his lips, Ching-Shi's expression became solemn. To be honest, Eugen, I am not very clear about many things myself, and I am very confused about many reasons. If you have to say something, it's probably me. Losing my memory. It's not completely amnesia either. I still remember everyone in the port area, but many details of the past are very vague. I know I have you, but I haven't fully remembered you. I can only remember a part of you. Even. I'm not afraid of you laughing, Prince Eugen. Before we officially met, I didn't fully recognize you. I came to see you with a sense of luck because I couldn't confirm if you were my Prince Eugen. Sincerity, Ching-Shi's attitude from beginning to end is still sincere. Upon hearing this answer, Prince Eugen's eyes flashed with a hint of surprise. No lies. Perhaps some parts may be ambiguous, but overall, the commander did not lie. But Amnesia, will this really happen? It can also explain part of the reason, but only part of it. Prince Eugen's attitude remained elusive, as she sat closer to Qingshi and had a portion of her body pressed against him, exuding a slightly aggressive aura. Commander, I'm not entirely satisfied with this answer. You have disappeared for 3 whole years, and 3 years is not just a memory loss that can explain it. Feeling the delicate body pressed against him, feeling the excellent figure of Prince Eugen, even though he had just hugged him up close, Qingshi still felt a bit embarrassed and dry-mouthed. Knowing what the key point was, at least he suppressed the dry mouth and reluctantly spread his hand. I know this explanation is a bit far-fetched, but that's all I can think of. So far, I haven't quite understood many things. By the way, since we're talking about 3 years, I actually want to figure it out. Prince Eugen, what exactly happened 3 years ago? How did I leave your side? Is it a sudden disappearance or something? What about the port area? Destroyed or abandoned? Prince Eugen immediately realized that his commander's question was true, which means he really didn't know what had happened 3 years ago. The eerie heart breathed a sigh of relief, and Prince Eugen opened his cherry lips lightly, beginning to recall the past with a somewhat low tone. 3 years ago, what happened that day, no matter how we recall it, made us shiver and even more anxious and worried. Just overnight, with just a nap, everything underwent a huge change. What great change! The port area has disappeared. Disappeared. Yes, it disappeared abruptly, as if there were ghosts and gods lurking around. Our large and powerful port area has disappeared without a trace, even the island where the port area is located has disappeared. The original location of our port area has become a vast sea of waves, empty of anything. Listening to this outrageous incident, Qingshi's face looked a bit ugly, and he quickly asked. What about you guys? Recalling those terrible past experiences, Prince Eugen's face did not improve much, and she continued to recount. We sisters in the port area just woke up and found ourselves on several desert islands near the port area. Just like the space transmission, we have no feeling at all. When we opened our eyes, we found that the heaven and the earth have changed. Everything around us has changed. Many sisters are around us, and we are in the same panic and confusion. The only fortunate thing is that when we were thrown onto a deserted island in our sleep, some important items and luggage we carried with us were also thrown beside us, so as not to cause us to be in a hurry and not even have the necessary supplies for changing clothes. Upon hearing this, Qingshi's expression became somewhat urgent as he continued to ask. And then? Did you go to the address where the original port area was located to find it? Turning his eyes slightly, Prince Eugen replied. We will certainly search for it. Suddenly appearing on a strange deserted island nearby and leaving your commanding officer's side, we were certainly very anxious to go back and search. But as I said before, many sisters in the port area returned to the original location of the port area, only to find that there was a sea and nothing there. When we first arrived there, we even thought we were lost, and even thought that the radar had gone wrong. But it's just a matter of getting lost. So many sisters can't make mistakes. The only explanation is that that place is indeed the original location of our port area, and our port area has indeed disappeared. But that's not the most important thing. The most important thing is you. At this point, Prince Eugen stared closely at Qingshi, with an indelible obsession in his eyes. Qingshi was enveloped in a deep sense of guilt at this moment, and he sighed. Because I, as the commander, disappeared along with the port area. Prince Eugen nodded. That's right. Without the port area, we can rebuild, but without the commander, it's like a collapse of the sky for us. In that case, especially when they realized that you were missing, all the sisters in the port area were so flustered that they couldn't do anything about it. Some timid sisters, including the children, even cried directly. Everyone worried and cried. Fortunately, some of the sisters can carry the flag after all. Some competent sisters, such as Enterprises, Bismarck and Tiancheng, have come forward to maintain order and control everyone's emotions. After barely maintaining order, the most urgent thing is to find you as the commander. Under the negotiation and leadership of those few people, especially the flagship of several camps in the port area, we dispersed in batches to search for the commander's whereabouts. When searching separately, we also agreed on a time and where to meet. But I can't find it. When it comes to this, recalling that time, Prince Eugen's tone contained a fear that she had not even noticed. No matter what, we couldn't find it. We searched and inquired everywhere, but there was no trace of you. When the time came to meet, every one of us came as promised. Everyone hoped that the other sisters would gain something and find your trace, even if it was just a little news. But no, nothing. It's like the human world evaporates, not to mention the commander, you have no trace or news. A single failure did not hit us, but later we searched in different directions in batches and agreed on a time and place to meet. But the result is still nothing. After failing many times, conflicts erupted and everyone started arguing and blaming each other. In the end, everyone completely scattered and no longer agreed on a time to meet. They left the sad place in twos and threes, searching aimlessly according to their own ideas. I still kneel down and beg for a monthly flower ticket as a reward, hoping that everyone will not find me annoying. 4. The Promise of Mount Taishan. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Listening to Prince Eugen's account, Qingshi felt a pang of heartache in his heart. He could imagine how worried and panicked his own girls were when he disappeared, and he knew he was their reliance. His disappearance was like a collapse in the sky for them. After all, I apologize to them and owe them too much. And 3 years ago, it was probably the time when I completely retired from the game, no wonder in their eyes it was the sudden disappearance of the port area and myself as the commander. Sigh. Qingshi's guilt and sense of guilt at this moment are simply indescribable. His guilt was naturally felt by Prince Eugen. Prince Eugen's eyes flickered as she intended to continue relentlessly questioning the commander about what was going on, but such a commander made him feel heartbroken. Prince Eugen was not the kind of person who was understanding, but caring for the commander is a habit that every ship mother has, and she is no exception. Feeling Qingshi's self-blame and pain, Prince Eugen couldn't help but reflect. Did he feel a bit aggressive just now? Judging from the commander's appearance, it is obvious that he has indescribable difficulties. Forget it, who makes this bastard their commander? Who makes himself his ship mother? With a sigh, Prince Eugen posted even closer. Sigh. Forget it, who made me stand up for a commander like you? Although I do have some doubts about amnesia or something, it seems that you, the commander, have a serious reflection on your appearance, so I won't ask any extra questions. Upon hearing these words, Qingshi was granted amnesty. Eugen, do you mean to forgive me? The next second, Prince Eugen regained his unpredictable and dangerous personality. I didn't say that, finger, wave, official. At this moment, Prince Eugen and Qingshi were incredibly close, their plump hands pressing against Qingshi's arms. Qingshi accurately felt this softness and elasticity. He, who has been single for 20 years, can't stand this kind of attack. On the one hand, he subconsciously feels a bit panicked and wants to avoid it, but at the same time, he is very attached and has a feeling of wanting to refuse and welcome it. So in this way, Qingshi's specific performance became a state of confusion. Looking at such a commander, Prince Eugen's interest became even stronger. She even reached out her finger and hooked Qingshi's chin, turning his face away. At this moment, their cheeks were very close together. At this moment, the four eyes are facing each other. At this moment, Prince Eugen was as angry as an orchid, with a charming and dangerous tone and temperament. How could I easily forgive someone who disappeared without permission for 3 years and then appeared again without permission, a big jerk who had let down everyone's feelings? Whether or not to forgive in the future depends on the performance of the commander. Commander. Won't he leave again, will he? Will it suddenly disappear again? In Prince Eugen's final question, there was a hint of trembling that she had not even noticed. However, this trembling sensation was accurately captured by Qingshi. His restless heart immediately calmed down, and Cheng Shi looked straight into Prince Eugen's eyes, earnestly and sincerely promising her. Prince Eugen, although many memories are still somewhat vague, since I have returned and remembered, I will not escape, let alone disappear and leave. I will take on the responsibility of being a commander, retrieve everyone one by one, and rebuild our port area. This is my promise. Prince Eugen's heart suddenly missed half a beat. When is a man the most handsome? In the eyes of Prince Eugen, it is not a time of flattery or spending money casually, but a time of serious commitment and responsibility. She had to admit that the determination displayed by her commanding officer at this moment hit her heart. If the forgiveness spoken by Prince Eugen before was only a forced forgiveness for Cheng Shi, now the forgiveness in Prince Eugen's heart has reached the level of true forgiveness. After all, the ship maidens are like this. Even if the commander makes a big mistake and does something very bad, as long as there is a slight repentance, they are willing to wholeheartedly forgive the commander. This may sound a bit humble, but the ship mother is such a wholehearted presence as her commander. Looking at Cheng Shi's serious face in front of him, Prince Eugen's eyes finally flickered. Okay, I've received the commander's promise. Don't go back on it this time, okay? Cheng Shi nodded vigorously and smiled slightly bitterly. Of course. However, the disappearance 3 years ago cannot be considered a regret, but rather an accident. Or force majeure. In summary, it's my fault, I'm sorry to everyone. Speaking of which, Cheng Shi felt that his repeated apologies seemed pale and powerless. At this point, shouldn't action be more appropriate? Thinking that the Prince Eugen's favorability towards him in the game has already been filled up, let alone that I had already hugged him once when we first met. Now, even if there is a closer gesture, it should not be a problem, right? With a strong courage, Cheng Shi tentatively hugged Prince Eugen's waist and held her in his arms. This embrace filled Wen Yu's arms. Prince Eugen's gaze gradually became a bit hot. Understanding that his own ship mother did not refuse, Cheng Shi breathed a sigh of relief and hugged him even tighter, feeling very excited and surging. In the distance, the commander named Li Yan watched this scene from a distance, his whole body dumbfounded by the sun. What did he see? Lao Ogan Chin Wang was just able to successfully catch it all at once. After successfully catching it, he sat directly on the park bench like a couple, and the two of them were still so close together. Still whispering. How could this favorability increase so quickly? Just met, just been caught. Does Prince Eugen trust this dog seal like this? Prince Eugen, Prince Eugen. You are a golden skin patrol. A ship mother with extremely high rarity. And it looks like the training level is not low. How could you be so unpretentious? Damn it. Getting closer. You too. You too. Shameless. What? Still hugging each other. This. 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 In broad daylight, the world is clear. Are you going to do something unethical if you continue to develop? This is a public place, you too. Just as Li Yan was about to have a myocardial infarction, his ship mother Kimberly returned from completing her duties at the Maritime Bureau. The young girl Kimberly came to her commander's side and noticed that his condition was not right. She looked at him in confusion. She followed the collapsed gaze of her own commander and saw Cheng Shi and Prince Eugen sitting on the park bench, who were very close to each other. Commander, what are you looking at? Li Yan gritted his teeth. Watching the dog seal that should be cut and struck by countless knives and lightning. Kimberly tilted his head slightly and was very puzzled. On the other side of the park bench, Cheng Shi and Prince Eugen were in perfect condition. Reunion after a long separation was a time of deep affection, but Prince Eugen still discovered the change in his own commander. Feeling the commander embracing his waist, Prince Eugen was pleasantly surprised, but also couldn't conceal his surprise and curiosity. Commander, your changes have been quite significant before, you weren't so direct, let alone actively hugging me. It was 2 consecutive times. Ching-Shi was a bit awkward, but his arms still didn't relax. Well. People always change, let alone we've been apart for 3 years. But then again, Eugen, what kind of person did I look like in your eyes before? Isn't he a very bad commander? Pointing his slender and radiant index finger to his lips, Prince Eugen displayed his famous hand-eating state. The previous commanders weren't particularly bad, but they weren't much better either. What do you say? The outstanding feature of previous commanders was their strong work ability. Although the commander is just one person, our port area is so large with over 300 ship women. The commander manages everything in an orderly manner, and there is no detail in matters such as conducting exercises and collecting supplies. In terms of ability, the commander is absolutely deserving of it. But from other perspectives. As Prince Eugen's words stretched, Ching-Shi's heart also lifted. He had a premonition that he would lose face. As expected, Prince Eugen said the following. When I saw one love another, I ate a bowl and looked into the pot. I changed the secretary ship every other time. When I changed the secretary ship, I was still poking at the mother of the ship. After I changed the secretary ship, I didn't pay much attention to others. Many sisters were left behind because they were ignored. They were always cold-faced and didn't care about everyone at all. Such a commander is really bad. Still kneeling and begging for flowers and monthly rewards. The support of my brothers is the driving force behind my updates. 5. Intuition in the dark. You are listening at novel full.audio. Listening to Prince Eugen's words, whether they were accusations or accusations, Ching-Shi understood that he had lost face. Releasing his arm around Prince Eugen, Ching-Shi covered his face with both hands, reflecting deeply on his disgust. I'm a jerk, I'm a jerk, I'm a jerk. I have to say important things 3 times. Prince Eugen was still in a state of eating hands with his side food pointing at his lips, and his gaze towards Ching-Shi became increasingly interested. Oh. The commander is very self-aware and has indeed changed a lot. If we change our previous commander, there will definitely be no such reflection. Rubbing his face and putting down his hand, Ching-Shi felt that a man should have thicker skin. Sorry, Eugen, it seems that I used to be very bad, especially constantly poking the secretary ship. Okay, I'm a jerk. Say it again. Prince Eugen nodded happily on the side. Yes, I don't deny that. It's not a big problem to stamp the wedding ship you gave the ring to, but what about those sisters who didn't give the ring to? Commander or poke and poke, does this involve harassment? Leaning on the seat, Ching-Shi let out a long sigh, feeling a bit tired. Yeah, even if I don't even have a ring, I'm a jerk. Although it's in the game. Of course, Ching-Shi did not say this last sentence. Previously, bad behaviors such as poking were nothing in the game, but since everything has become a reality and one of my own girls is real, now I think about the poking at that time. Really, it may be acceptable for a wedding ship, but isn't it a girl from a wedding ship? Are you the kind of person who deserves to be punished with a firewood knife for committing heinous crimes? Thinking of this, Ching-Shi suddenly felt a little flustered. At a glance, Ching-Shi's panic was evident, and Prince Eugen's smile became even more joyful. Oh. Is the commander worried about something? However, there was none. Ching-Shi was very determined in his self-deception and denial, because he understood that if he admitted it, Prince Eugen would definitely mock him even more bluntly. Unexpectedly, Prince Eugen became understanding at this moment. I can probably guess what the commander is worried about, but don't worry too much. Because everyone in the port area loves the commander, whether it's a wedding ship or not, everyone can accept the commander's actions in their hearts, and even feel a bit pleased. Really? Really? Of course. Prince Eugen leaned closer again, and his eyes sparkled with joy. The commander's gestures represent the commander's fascination with everyone's bodies, and of course, everyone's hearts are filled with joy. Ching-shi breathed a sigh of relief. As long as the girls could accept it, their offense was not too much. However, the next second, Prince Eugen's words made Ching-shi just let go of his worries and he raised it again. That being said, the commander also did some poking towards those who expelled the children, right? This is really embarrassing. Ching-shi covered his face with one hand and began to murmur. I'm a jerk, I'm a jerk, I'm a jerk. I have to say important things 3 times. Prince Eugen couldn't help but chuckle. Indeed, the commander has changed a lot. It's really interesting. This kind of change is not bad, at least in my opinion. The commander has become more humane. He probably won't love each other as he used to, and he won't just leave his old friends behind and ignore them. Ching-shi couldn't ignore these words. He immediately sat up straight with a sincere and serious expression. No, it won't. After finding everyone back, I will not neglect them like before, let alone ignore them. I will do my best to care for and love everyone, so that everyone will no longer be wronged. I'll do my best. After all, there are over 300 girls in our port area. At this point, Ching-shi couldn't help but feel a surge of pressure. More than 300 ship maidens, although there is still some distance from the goal of Chi Baoi, it is also difficult to achieve, okay. In the game, this is just a number, but now it has all become a reality, and thinking about it makes people dizzy. It's a big project to retrieve over 300 girls one by one. After retrieving them, we need to constantly care about them and not neglect them. We also need to take good care of them and take responsibility. Forget it, in a sense, this is also the pressure of happiness. Don't be in the midst of happiness and don't know it. Think about it, immersing yourself in over 300 different beautiful girls every day. Wherever you go, someone sweetly calls you commander, and occasionally someone comes over to actively post. Thinking about it makes people excited. So the pressure of happiness is really appropriate. After discussing so much with Prince Eugen, the topic unknowingly returned to its starting point, which was also the key point and what Prince Eugen valued the most. She folded her beautiful legs and maintained the position of holding her fragrant cheeks with her jade hands. Her brown beautiful eyes stared at Ching-shi without blinking, and her tone was quite solemn. Commander, I still need to confirm for the last time. Will it really disappear suddenly this time? Are you really not leaving? Ching-shi looked at Prince Eugen seriously. Don't worry, it won't disappear suddenly, nor will it leave again. He has a certain level of confidence in making such a promise. On the one hand, it is true that he has the determination to live in this world forever and to live with his own ship girls forever. On the other hand, it's the intuition that comes from within. It is not yet clear where this intuition comes from, but it is quite firm. And this encounter with Prince Eugen and his own ship mother has already confirmed the accuracy of Ching-shi's intuition. Another thing is that this elusive intuition tells Ching-shi that after crossing over, he will really be stationed in this world and will not travel back inexplicably. Anyway, I am an orphan and have no worries in the original world. If I don't go back, I won't go back. On the contrary, in this world, with so many worries and responsibilities, I cannot let go of them no matter what. Sometimes Ching-shi also wondered, where did this kind of intuition come from? Why is it so firm? Even more deeply, was everything I am currently facing already arranged? After all, everything he encountered was similar to many of the novels he had read before, which made Ching-shi doubt whether he was also a protagonist, a character in a book. Fortunately, Ching-shi is not the kind of person who is too conflicted. He also understands theories such as the brain in the vat and my thoughts, so I am in it. His only concern is the fate of the future. Oh my goodness, or rather the will of this world, or the fate of the underworld, or more accurately, the author. Since I have encountered everything beautiful, don't let it all easily end. I am willing to walk on, I am willing to find my girl, I will definitely find everyone, that's what I think. So, that existence in the underworld, please bless me and never stop my destiny at will. Even if. Even if I am truly the protagonist controlled by you, even if you are truly a certain author, please do not easily cut off my future. I understand your temperament and your habit of cutting books directly due to factors such as reality, but just like how I uninstalled the game and everything happened now, you should not cut books casually, causing the world I am currently in to be destroyed or time to come to a halt. If you really can't persist, or if you really need to cut it off, at least give me a vague result. At least, let me and my girls have an accurate ending. This is my plea, or rather my prayer. Thinking of this, Ching-Shi sat on the bench, looking up at the sky with a melancholy heart. He had never prayed devoutly for his own girls like this moment. Prince Eugen frowned slightly beside him, not understanding what had happened to his commander. But the feeling in the dark made Prince Eugen pause teasing, and she became serious, looking up at the sky with the same solemnity as Ching-Shi. Flower monthly past tipping, understand. The author kneels down again. 6. There still needs to be staffing. You are listening at novel full.audio. Ching-Shi's heartfelt prayer temporarily came to an end, and Prince Eugen sitting next to him also came to his senses. At this moment, Prince Eugen had some doubts. Commander, why did you suddenly stop talking? What were you doing just now? With a gentle smile, Ching-Shi answered as follows. Just now, I was praying to heaven that I could bring back all the people in the port area and live happily together forever. So. Prince Eugen is a bit non-committal, she is not focused on it now, but ahead. Pointing in the direction of the pedestrian commander Li Yan, Prince Eugen couldn't help but ask. Actually, I've been wanting to ask since just now, Commander, do you know that person? How do you feel that his gaze at us is a bit strange? Especially when he looks at you, it's like looking at an enemy. Did you offend him in any way? Following Prince Eugen's direction, Ching-Shi saw Li Yan and suddenly realized with a hearty smile. Oh, he is. I didn't offend him, the reason he had this look was because he thought I was trying to catch me. Oh, I understand. Prince Eugen understood almost instantly, and then showed that mischievous and joyful smile. Do you want to go over and say hello to him? Ching-Shi also showed a smile similar to that of Prince Eugen. This statement deeply resonates with me. Since that's the case, let's go over and say hello to him. So Ching-Shi and Prince Eugen stood up from the park seats and walked briskly towards Li Yan over there. The closer they got to Li Yan, the more Ching-Shi and Prince Eugen could see the ugly expression on his face. The more he saw his ugly face, the closer Ching-Shi and Prince Eugen got to each other, and even Ching-Shi took the initiative to hold Prince Eugen's hand. This scene almost shattered Li Yan's teeth. Even though he had already stabbed Ching-Shi 100 times with a poisoned spear in his heart, at least his face was still passable. So Li Yan tried hard to pull out a polite smile. Congratulations. Congratulations, Ching-Shi. Standing in front of Li Yan, holding Prince Eugen's weak and boneless hand, Ching-Shi smiled. Senior Li Yan, your congratulations are a bit insincere. This smile couldn't last any longer, and Li Yan couldn't hold his expression, so he decided to show his hand. Yeah, I can't really congratulate you right now, you despicable dog seal. How on earth? How did you succeed? In front of Prince Eugen, Li Yan couldn't directly say the word salvaging the ship, so he could only ask how he succeeded. Ching-Shi shrugged his shoulders, feeling particularly satisfied now, even revealing a Versailles-like appearance. To be honest, I don't know how to succeed, so I naturally succeeded. Naturally. Li Yan's teeth were almost biting apart. By the way, you just called me senior. What does that mean? Ching-Shi still shrugged his shoulders. Literally, before meeting Prince Eugen, I couldn't be considered a formal commander, so I couldn't call you a senior either. Now it's okay, I can officially call you senior. Now when he said these words, Ching-Shi still held Prince Eugen's hand and showed Li Yan that Li Yan had almost suffered a myocardial infarction. Prince Eugen himself did not say anything throughout the entire process, and was rarely quiet with a smile on his face. In the midst of his angry and confused mind, Li Yan finally realized and looked at Qing Shi incredulously. Wait. Are you saying you weren't the commander until you met Prince Eugen? Qing Shi nodded. But are you now the commander? Qing Shi still nodded. I actually witnessed the birth of a wild commander. Qing Shi still nodded. Li Yan covered his heart and almost missed it. It was his Kimberly, who had a good understanding, who supported him from behind, that Li Yan collapsed completely without stiffening his body. In a flurry, Li Yan struggled to stand firm with the help of Kimberly. He trembled and pointed at Qing Shi, his tone already somewhat broken. You today is your first time salvaging a ship. Successfully salvaged the ship all at once. You became a commander all of a sudden. Qing Shi pondered for a moment. You understand it that way, at least for this world. Looking at Qing Shi's calm demeanor, Li Yan, who was completely stunned by the sun, collapsed to the point where he couldn't speak. However, Qing Shi still had the mood to ask his senior for advice, and his tone was very humble at this moment. By the way, although I can guess what Senior Li Yan just said about the wild commander, I still want to ask. People like me who have not received systematic education and training, have not attended naval academies, come from unorthodox academic backgrounds, but have successfully managed to catch a ship and are accompanied by a ship's mother are what we call wild commanders, right? Li Yan didn't want to say anything anymore, he nodded painfully to show that you were right. Qing Shi is still humbly seeking advice. What should a wild commander like me do to gain access to the port area? Prince Eugen next to her glanced at Qing Shi and understood that her own commander was going to rebuild the port area. Because he was talking about a serious matter, Li Yan slowed down a bit at this moment. While caressing his chest, he answered Qing Shi's doubts. Wildlife commanders do not have the establishment of a maritime bureau, but can actually establish their own port area. However, in such a port area, the location needs to be found and built by oneself, and it is difficult to obtain support from the Maritime Bureau or other commanders in case of combat risks. So generally speaking, wild commanders are isolated and basically don't know how to build their own port areas, which is too difficult. In this way, it is necessary for wild commanders to transform from wild to orthodox commanders. Upon hearing this, Qing Shi took the opportunity to speculate. Going to apply for the Naval Academy? Li Yan nodded earnestly. That's right, apply to the Naval Academy, study the Orthodox Commander course, and officially become an Orthodox Commander after passing the assessment standards for various courses. After becoming a legitimate commander with a maritime bureau, you can receive various benefits and gradually establish a port area with the help of the Maritime Bureau, which is easier and has greater official support. Qing Shi is truly expressing his gratitude from the bottom of his heart this time. I understand. Thank you, Senior Li Yan, for your clarification. That is to say, we still have to follow the path of orthodox organization, and fighting alone is not enough at this point. Prince Eugen next to him suddenly wanted to say something. If I remember correctly, their commander used to be a wild commander, and their port area used to be the kind of wild port area where they fought alone, right? But their port area used to be very powerful, with over 300 ship maidens, each of whom had a high level. This combination of forces was enough to push the sea horizontally. But it came again. However, after the disappearance of the port area 3 years ago, these wandering ship women also came to the Maritime Bureau for investigation, hoping to find the trace of their commander Qing Shi with the help of the Maritime Bureau. But what made the ship women's hair stand on end was that there was no information about their commander in the Maritime Bureau, nor was there any information about their port area. It's like their commander Qing Shi is not from this world. It's like their port area wasn't the port area of this world before. Otherwise, how could there be such a strange situation? The Maritime Bureau here surprisingly has no information about their commander and their port area, as if their port area had a sense of disconnection from the world before. Every time I think of this, Prince Eugen feels uneasy in his heart. But now that the commander had returned to his side and held his hand, Prince Eugen felt that the unease, strangeness, or sense of disconnection were completely indifferent. Prince Eugen also realized that this matter was not a small matter, so it was better not to say it himself. So, this time in front of outsiders, Prince Eugen really turned into a obedient little woman, without saying a word, just obediently accompanying Qingshi. Soon, Qingshi had finished consulting with Li Yan. Li Yan is also a good person, he answered everything he should know. Qingshi gained a lot, and in the end, he sincerely thanked him. I am truly grateful for Senior Li Yan's guidance this time, and I hope we have the opportunity to work together in the future. However, Li Yan was very disgusted and waved his hand. No, 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 no. I have received your gratitude, so let's not work together in the future. I can't stand a seal like you wandering around me, I'm afraid I can't help but kill you. That's it. If there's nothing else, I'll leave. May you come ashore soon and become the legitimate commander soon. Qingshi smiled. Borrow the auspicious words from the senior. Monthly tickets, flowers and gifts, kneeling and begging, and wishing everyone to disembark as soon as possible. 7. Eugen, please take care of me. You are listening at novel full.audio. No matter who is blessed and comes ashore, their mood will be very good, and Qingshi is no exception. Of course, the main reason for being in a good mood is still encountering one's own Prince Eugen. This is a breakthrough from scratch, a journey from scratch, and of great significance. At this moment, Qingshi and Prince Eugen, who had already left the Maritime Bureau, were walking hand in hand on the street. Although strictly speaking, Qingshi just got to know a girl and went to hold her hand directly, which was a bit shameless. But for men and commanders, can shameless things be called shameless? At most, that's just thick-skinned. Walking side by side with Qingshi, holding hands with his own commander, feeling this rare sense of peace, Prince Eugen looked at Qingshi teasingly. Is the commander in a good mood? Do you want to apply to the Naval Academy? Qingshi does not conceal. That's right, I have this plan. After all, our former port area has disappeared without a trace, even the island has disappeared. If we want to rebuild the port area, we have to rely on the help of the Maritime Bureau to some extent. In this way, it is very urgent to pass the establishment and become an orthodox commander. TSK, no matter which world you are in, compiling is very important. The final sentence was whispered by Qingshi, and Prince Eugen did not hear it clearly. Commander, what are you talking about? It's nothing, I'm seeking your opinion, Eugen. After all, applying to the Naval Academy is just my personal idea. Do you have any other ideas, Eugen? Prince Eugen thought for a moment and asked with rare seriousness. Do commanders want to apply to the Naval Academy first to become legitimate commanders, or do they want to find everyone back first? Qingshi extended his hand and held it weakly. I want everything. Do you want everything? Yes, if we had regained a lot of everyone before becoming a legitimate commander and obtaining the port area, where should we all live? We can't live together in the dormitory of the Naval Academy, can we? But if I only focus on becoming an orthodox commander and ignore everyone not looking for them, I absolutely can't bear it. So I will do both, if possible. At the same time Prince Eugen looked at his commanding officer with a smile on his face, and his tone remained teasing. Oh, I want it all, the commander is a bit greedy. It feels like Prince Eugen's words are a bit pun, and Qingshi tries his best to treat it as an illusion in his heart. Greed or something, don't commanders have this problem? I'm not the only one missing. Unexpectedly candid, the commander's changes have indeed been significant. Let's not talk about that for now, Eugen. I want to seek your opinion. What do you think of my idea? Is it feasible? Prince Eugen's smile at this moment was very bright. I think it's very good. Just now, Commander Li Yan also mentioned that it usually takes 3 years for students from ordinary naval academies to apply and graduate. However, for wild commanders to apply to naval academies, it generally does not take that long from application to graduation. Because when the wild commander caught the ship mother beside him already had a certain level in combat power. In this case, the wild commander will enter the naval academy for courses quickly, and the final graduation assessment standards are not so strict. Commander, you are in this situation. And my level. At this point, the faint and dangerous aura emanating from Prince Eugen began to emanate. Level 123, although not reaching the full level of 125, it's still considered good. A drop of cold sweat hung on his head, and Cheng Shi nodded in agreement with a dry smile. In fact, he felt a wave of resentment in his heart. Prince Eugen, this is not good. In this world, it is estimated that you are the Eugen prince who favors vertices, but there should be no Eugen prince who is stronger than you. After all, just after consulting with Li Yan, he has roughly understood the commander of this world and the overall level of the port area. How to say it generally, students from naval academies can apply for graduation as long as they have a ship mother with a level exceeding 40 by their side. After graduating and becoming a legitimate commander, it is the internship stage, where one interns at a commander's port with a legitimate port area. I interned with a ship mother with a level exceeding 50 by my side, and the internship period officially ended. I became a true commander, started building my own harbor, and gradually took on missions and began my career as a commander. Among many commanders, the overall level of the ship maidens around most commanders is around level 60. A commander with over 80 class ship women can basically be called a big shot. And commanders with over 90 class ship women are the big shots among the big shots. If there are commanders with over 100 class ships, then this commander is an absolute pillar of strength, able to defend the existence of a sea area. As for the commanders with over 110 class battleships. Are you talking about one of the few naval marshals in the world today? Which of these is the heavenly white jade pillar and the sea purple gold beam? So looking back on the situation, considering that there are over 300 girls in my family, the lowest level among these girls is at least 80, and the highest level is 125 top. Level. This kind of port area, if we retrieve everyone, can really be considered as being able to push the sea horizontally. Even if he hasn't been found back now, there is only one Eugen prince by his side, but Eugen prince also has a dazzling 123 level. Applying to the Naval Academy at such a level and graduating from it is a piece of cake. So Cheng Shi's idea of using both hands to take courses at the Naval Academy and searching for everyone at the same time is not a delusion, it is really feasible. In this way, Cheng Shi and Prince Eugen held hands with each other, chatting and walking on the street. As he was walking, Cheng Shi suddenly realized that he was a bit confused as he looked at the increasingly bustling streets around him. Wait, Eugen, where are we now? Where are you taking me? At this moment, Prince Eugen's nightmare was like a flower. Of course, he brought the commander to my place of residence. Looking at Prince Eugen's smiling face, Cheng Shi suddenly felt a little nervous. Ah. Eugen, where do you live? Nearby hotels. A hotel in such a bustling area. Eugen, you are indeed very wealthy. Fortunately, a ship's mother of my level can never starve anywhere. She can earn a lot of money by accepting a few commissions from the Maritime Bureau, so even without the help of a commander who suddenly disappears as a jerk, I can still live well. That. Eugen. What's wrong? Looking at Prince Eugen's beautiful face, Cheng Shi made up his mind and decided to completely lose face. Since that's the case, let's ask the wealthy Mrs. Eugen to directly support me, this suddenly disappearing bastard commander. Even Prince Eugen did not expect Cheng Shi to suddenly say such shameless words. Especially here in public, especially Cheng Shi's voice was still quite loud. Prince Eugen looked around nervously, but rarely blushed with embarrassment and anger. Commander, what are you talking about? Do you, this big man, want to eat soft food openly? Cheng Shi shook his finger solemnly. Strictly speaking, all commanders in the world are eating their own soft meals, so I don't have much psychological pressure. Moreover. Not to mention it. Cheng Shi's face suddenly collapsed. Besides, I really don't have any money. To be honest with Eugen, I'm in a bad state of semi-amnesia. I don't know where my home is, what I used to be, and where my hometown is. The only thing that vaguely impresses me is you. So during this period of time, in order to find you, I have been working and making money while searching everywhere. So far, the situation is. It's not much different from being penniless. Looking at Cheng Shi's pitiful appearance, Prince Eugen suddenly felt a sense of unease in his heart that his own commander needed to rely on. Meanwhile, Prince Eugen's expression was somewhat complicated. Is the commander so pitiful? Kneel down and beg for flowers, monthly tickets, and rewards, begging for trouble. 8. Exciting developments. You are listening at novel full.audio. So. Why did things develop to this extent? At this moment, sitting on the sofa in the luxurious hotel suite designated by Prince Eugen, Cheng Shi raised such a question. He looked at the surrounding suites, including their configurations, decorations, and decorations. Very luxurious and exquisite, although not comparable to the legendary presidential suite, it is also great, clearly not something that this poor person can afford. The reason why I am able to appear here now is entirely because I have been exposed to Eugen's light. And where is Prince Eugen at this moment? After bringing Cheng Shi back to her hotel suite, Prince Eugen directly said to Cheng Shi that she needed to clean up the dusty outside before taking a shower. Yes, then I went to take a shower. Listening to the splashing sound of water coming from the bathroom and imagining the scene inside, Cheng Shi became even more restless. He has a premonition that today he may not be able to maintain his innocence. Since crossing into this world, similar premonitions or intuition have become more accurate each time. Just as Cheng Shi sat stiffly here feeling the agony of time, the sound of water splashing in the bathroom stopped. Cheng Shi was taken aback. Then came the crisp voice of Prince Eugen inside. Commander, I forgot to bring a towel. Can you help me get it? It's in my bedroom. Looking towards the direction of the bathroom, Cheng Shi swallowed his saliva in embarrassment. Are you using this to test cadres? Which cadre can withstand such a test? After responding, Cheng Shi stood up somewhat lost, entered Prince Eugen's bedroom, found the towel she had mentioned, and then went to the bathroom door, knocking on it. The door of the bathroom was opened a crack, and between the revealed mist and heat, Prince Eugen's hand reached out. Feeling uneasy, Prince Eugen handed the towel to her hand. Upon receiving it, he immediately withdrew and closed the door with a click. Cheng Shi was foolish and stood outside the bathroom in a daze. Is that all? I have already brainstormed 10,000 words, okay. As a result, Prince Eugen, you are so straightforward. Does this make me look silly, okay? With a sigh, Cheng Shi, who felt a bit sentimental, sat back on the sofa. In no time, the door to the bathroom opened and Cheng Shi looked over immediately. What a bathing beauty she is. At this moment, Prince Eugen was only wrapped in a towel, revealing his slender and beautiful legs. His skin was white and rosy, and his cheeks were slightly flushed and charming. This scene stunned Cheng Shi, who had never been single for over 20 years. Prince Eugen wiped his long hair with a towel as he approached Cheng Shi. Cheng Shi just lifted his head and looked at her. According to Cheng Shi's observation, Prince Eugen's brown eyes at this moment seemed to contain some dangerous light. However, what Prince Eugen said next did not seem dangerous. Commander, help me blow my hair. It's not a command, nor a request. It's a plain language, but it carries an undeniable meaning. Of course, Cheng Shi had no intention of refusing either. After taking a deep breath and standing up from the sofa, Shi looked around and didn't find a hairdryer, so he sincerely asked. "Where is it?" As if looking at a fool, Prince Eugen looked helplessly at his own commander. "Of course I went to the bedroom." Realizing that he had asked a very foolish question, Shi was speechless. Without further ado, Prince Eugen walked barefoot on the floor towards her bedroom. When he arrived at the bedroom door, Prince Eugen glanced back at Shi with a clear meaning. What was he doing in a daze? With a heroic mood, Shi walked over and entered the bedroom with Prince Eugen. Next is a very serious hair-blowing scene, don't think too much. Prince Eugen sat in front of the dressing table, looking through the dressing mirror in front of him with a smile at the commander behind him who was diligently blowing his hair. While teasing Eugen's hair, Shi blew it lightly and lightly, feeling the dryness of the hair and preparing to switch to the other side at any time. When it was about halfway through, Prince Eugen suddenly asked in the silence. "The commander's hair-blowing technique is good. Have you ever blown hair for other girls before?" Shi gently shook his head. "No, this is the first time." Prince Eugen's smile deepened. "Oh, I see. Commander is the first time." A well character appeared on Shi's head. "Don't say anything misleading, Eugen." "Hey." Prince Eugen gestured at Shi in his dressing mirror. "Did I say anything misleading? Or was the commander thinking about something misleading?" "No, I can't play with this woman." Feeling the difference in enemy and friendly combat power, Shi still wants to struggle at this moment. "I didn't think of anything misleading," was Eugen thinking. Unexpectedly, Prince Eugen voluntarily admitted. "That's right, Eugen. I was really thinking about it." At this moment, Shi really didn't know how to blow the hair of Prince Eugen for a moment. It was already this situation, and Shi felt like he was both acting and standing up. However, he still wanted to act and stand up, so he said in a difficult tone. "Eugen, this is not good, it's just the first day." Prince Eugen in the mirror seemed somewhat displeased. "What's just the first day? It seems like the commander met me on the first day." "It's just the first day we met again, isn't it?" After some thought, Shi changed his statement. "Eugen, you know, I have lost my memory. I can't remember many things in the port area before, and everyone in the port area may not be able to recognize them all. They just vaguely remember that I have you all. So strictly speaking, this is indeed the first day we got to know each other again, and it's a bit fast, not at all fast." Prince Eugen suddenly felt a little angry. She stood up and turned to look at Shi seriously and dangerously, while showing her fingers to Shi. "Commander, I'm asking you, what is this?" Seeing the shiny thing on Prince Eugen's finger, Shi instinctively said. "Ring." "That's right, it's the oath of the oath." Prince Eugen's eyes flickered with an unshakable light at this moment. "I am the commander of your legitimate wedding ship. Why do you have any hesitation?" As soon as the words fell, Prince Eugen directly took action, using the physical strength of a ship mother that humans could not resist, and flipped Shi onto the large bed next to him. Before Shi struggled to get up, Prince Eugen pulled off his towel and jumped up directly. "Oh ho, straight ball, unprecedented straight ball. Later. Please forgive me for not being able to play." In short, there was nothing to say overnight. No, it was a silent afternoon. Because the battle of Prince Eugen against the commander was launched at noon on this day and ended in the evening, there was no conversation throughout the afternoon. It's just that Shi really can't bear it. For the same reason, the physical fitness of the ship's mother is not something that humans can resist, and it's even more difficult to resist in this regard. It's better to say that Shi was already very brave if he could persist for an afternoon. How did that sentence come from? There is no plowed field, only tired cows. The fields become fatter as they plow, and the cows become thinner as they plow. It was already evening, and the bedroom was not lit. Prince Eugen and Shi were both lazy. They were too lazy to turn on the lights and relied on the neon lights outside the window to barely borrow light. In the dim light, Ching-shi lay on the side of the big bed and suddenly sighed. Prince Eugen, who was nestled next to him, seemed somewhat unhappy. "Commander, are you still being wronged?" Ching-shi quickly explained. No, I don't have any grievances. It's clear that I took a big advantage. But I still feel that things are developing too quickly and things are changing too suddenly. This time Prince Eugen did not refute, as if he had calmed down a bit after fulfilling his wish. It seems to be getting faster. 4 other sisters in the port area, am I running away? They will definitely envy the bad. Since that's the case, let them envy and hate me. I want to leave them far away. Commander, let's do it again. Sensing Prince Eugen's intention to entangle him again, Ching-shi was startled and quickly pushed aside to refuse. No way. Eugen. This is really not going to work. However, the subsequent development of the matter was unexpected. Prince Eugen originally intended to use the power of the ship's mother to hold on a little longer, but to his surprise, the sudden push of his own commander was too powerful. Prince Eugen was caught off guard and was pushed out of the bed, sitting on the floor with a but. Prince Eugen was stunned, and Cheng was truly foolish. Something's wrong. This power is not right. Sitting on the bed, Ching-shi looked at his hands and realized that something terrible seemed to have happened to his body. Flowers and monthly tickets for rewards, kneel down and beg. Did my description make sense? 9. Travel benefits. You are listening at novel-full.audio. At this moment, Prince Eugen had no intention of continuing to demand, and she also realized that something was wrong with her own commander. Commander, what's wrong with you? Prince Eugen quickly got up from the ground and jumped back onto the bed. When he landed on the bed, the pair of shoes bounced noticeably, which was shocking. Unfortunately, Ching-shi is not in the mood to care about those things now. Looking at his own hands, Ching-shi clenched his fists and felt an unprecedented sense of strength. Prince Eugen stared at Ching-shi without blinking his eyes, realizing that the commander's physical fitness seemed to have suddenly improved, becoming quite outrageous. While feeling the surging power inside his body, Ching-shi observed his entire body up and down. Originally, his physique belonged to that of an average person, but for some reason, he felt that his bones had become much more solid, and his muscles all over his body had appeared. Not only the prominent muscles on the arms and thighs, but even the abdominal muscles clearly have 6 lumps. Looking at the 6 abdominal muscles, Prince Eugen beside him calmly swallowed his saliva. Prince Eugen can confirm that before the start of this battle, the commander had no abdominal muscles on his stomach. How did the commander's physique become so good after the battle ended? Vaguely, Prince Eugen speculated that the reason for the commander's change may be due to himself. On the other hand, Ching-shi himself also had some speculations in his heart. At present, it seems that his physical condition has significantly improved, but he has not felt any side effects. Is it travel welfare? Or are you talking about golden fingers? Why hasn't my body changed before? But now you have it. Is it because the golden finger welfare was triggered after encountering Prince Eugen? Or was it only after intimate contact with O and the prince that this golden finger welfare was triggered? Intuition in the dark told Ching-shi that it might be the latter. Prince Eugen beside her crawled forward and got closer to Ching-shi. She was now genuinely worried. Commander, do you want to go to the hospital to have a look? Hospitals in Shanghai City are still possible. Ching-shi immediately shook his head. No, absolutely not. My physical fitness has surpassed that of ordinary humans. If I go to the hospital for a check-up, who knows what will happen? Prince Eugen thought for a moment and nodded, then she felt somewhat helpless. Unfortunately, Akashi is not here. If she is, it would be good to help the commander check his health. Akashi. Speaking of her, Ching Shi couldn't help but think of that unscrupulous business cat lady. Shaking his head and no longer thinking about what he had or didn't have, Ching comforted Prince Eugen. Don't worry, Eugen. Based on the current situation, everything is a positive change, with no negative aspects or side effects. By the way, Eugen, let's shake our wrists. I want to see what level of physical fitness I have now, and whether I can compete with your scumbag. Upon hearing Ching Shi's words, Prince Eugen also showed a joyful smile of interest. Oh, I really dare to think about it, Commander. But why is it wrist wrestling? We can also compete with other things, and I happen to want to try Commander's brand new physical fitness. As he spoke, Prince Eugen's eyes lit up and he provocatively licked his lips. Ching Shi's waist is a bit sore, and his face is a bit embarrassed. This is not easy to handle. Although physical fitness has improved, many things cannot be supplemented out of thin air. For example, it's like when you suddenly get injured and bleed heavily, your body's hematopoietic function cannot be replenished in a short period of time. Of course, the replenishment speed of this thing is much faster than blood production, but it can't be made for a while. So, Ching Shi is extremely grateful for this competition. Rejected, Prince Eugen looked regretful. Fortunately, Prince Eugen eventually agreed, and the competition turned into a rather ordinary wrist wrestling. And the result of breaking the wrist is no result. During the process of breaking their wrists, the bedside table used to support their elbows couldn't support the strength of Ching Shi and Prince Eugen, and with a click, it shattered into a pile of wood. Looking at this pile of wood, Ching Shi and Prince Eugen fell into silence at the same time. Prince Eugen was not very satisfied in his heart. In the competition for strength, he couldn't even surpass the commander. I have already used my ship's power. However, this also indirectly demonstrates that the commander's pure physical strength has truly reached the standards of her as a ship mother. This is simply outrageous. You should know that the power of their ship maidens is not ordinary and terrifying. How did the commander's physical body reach this level? On the other side, Ching Shi rubbed his slightly painful wrist, feeling quite satisfied. This travel benefit is good, not to mention other things, this physical fitness is very useful. With such physical fitness, even in the face of danger in the future, the survival rate will greatly increase. I cleaned the broken wooden bedside table, and Ching Shi and Prince Eugen discussed while cleaning it. The result of the discussion is that there is currently nothing bad about Ching Shi, so we can only let it go for now. After cleaning, the lights in the room were turned on again. Just as the two of them looked at each other, unsure of what to do next, Ching Shi's stomach began to rumble. It's a bit awkward, but the reality is that Ching Shi only had breakfast today, and was killed by Prince Eugen without even having lunch. And then he used up so much energy, and by now, he's already hungry by the evening. Prince Eugen smiled, but at this moment he was understanding. After intimate contact with each other, the two of them seemed to have a stronger connection. Without saying much, they began to change into clothes and planned to leave the hotel to search for food downstairs. There are several good restaurants around here. What would the commander like to eat? Donghuang cuisine. Heavy cherry cuisine. Or the cuisine from the Free Iris area. I can do anything, as long as it's not a royal cuisine. Prince Eugen, who was getting dressed, couldn't help but laugh. Commander, are you joking? How could the royal cuisine possibly thrive here? To be precise, royal cuisine can't be found anywhere else, can it? Except for their royal district. It makes sense. So, between laughter and conversation, the two of them dressed up and cleaned up, then left the room and the hotel to search for food. As Prince Eugen said, the location of this hotel is very bustling, with bright lights and many good restaurants. After wandering around, Ching Shi, who avoided falling into the dilemma of choice, ultimately chose the Donghuang cuisine that he was more familiar with. In this shop, the two of them chose a suitable spot and were warmly welcomed. They ordered some of their specialty dishes and even a little wine, and the atmosphere was very good, like a date, eating and drinking. The atmosphere between the two is indeed good, and can even be described as charming. The reason may be because the two have just had in-depth communication, coupled with this reunion after a long separation, and the fact that Prince Eugen did indeed manage to sneak away, and most importantly, how could Qingshi not be tempted by such a charming beauty right in front of him? Eating vegetables and drinking alcohol, the atmosphere was just right, and the conversation between the two gradually unfolded. Qingshi also began to ask himself what he wanted to know. By the way, Eugen, I haven't asked. This is the Donghuang area, which can be considered my hometown. Why did Eugen come here alone? What about the others around you? What about the other members of the iron-blooded camp? When asked this question, Prince Eugen was somewhat dissatisfied and she turned her face slightly. I was indeed with Bismarck and the others in the iron-blooded camp before, and have been wandering around the world for the past 2 years, searching for news about you. But half a year ago, I had an argument with Bismarck and the others. Let's say we ran away from home and wandered around alone, searching for you while traveling. So, I stayed in Shanghai City for the time being, and I didn't expect to be lucky enough to meet the commander today. 10. Specific plan for the next step. You are listening at Novel Full.Audio. Looking at Prince Eugen sitting across from him sipping his wine, Qingshi's heart twitched slightly. Well, it turns out that one person ran away from home from the iron-blooded camp. In this regard, Eugen is really a bad girl. Looking at Qingshi with a smile on his face, Prince Eugen's radiant calves placed under the table began to playfully rub against Qingshi's calves, while rubbing against her and teasing. Really? But based on this afternoon's experience, the commander really likes bad girls. No, I can't play. Fake coughing twice, Qingshi quickly wanted to stay serious. Cough, that, Eugen, to be serious, I was actually asking, why did you argue with Bismarck and the others at all? So much so that you ran out alone. Prince Eugen turned his head and looked a little unhappy. She casually took a bite of food and chewed it with her mouth pursed, while she made cute and attractive roast. Arguing is just arguing, there's nothing to explain. There's really nothing to explain. If you insist, it's all the commander's fault. Ah. It is precisely because the commander has disappeared that over time, no one has found your trace, and everyone in every camp is worried. Over time, various conflicts and frictions continue to occur, and if they cannot be resolved, everyone can only split up in one go. As far as I know, this kind of thing happens in almost every camp, and I am not lacking realizing that eating melons would end up on him, Qingshi sighed. After drinking a mouthful of wine, he could only weakly say the words sorry, even though these 2 words had already been said a lot today. After chatting around for a while, this time it was Prince Eugen who asked the question. She held her fragrant cheeks in her jade hand and looked at Qingshi seriously, her brown eyes filled with a thirst for knowledge. What are the commander's plans next? Taking a bite of food, Qingshi calmly said. Didn't you already make a decision? Applying to the Naval Academy, studying in class while searching for everyone. That's right, but specifically. As far as I know, there are several naval academies in Donghuang. Which naval academy does the commander plan to apply for? Qingshi's chopstick stopped, and he hesitated a bit. I'm not quite sure about this, why don't Eugen give me some advice? You must be more familiar with these things than I am, right? Feeling needed by the commander, Prince Eugen smiled coquettishly. I suggest the commander go to Shanghai City. Qingshi is not ashamed to ask. What is the reason? It's simple, Shanghai City is one of the largest port cities in the Donghuang area, where there is also the most complete maritime bureau in the Donghuang area and the largest naval academy. Qingshi roughly understood Prince Eugen's thoughts. I see, the largest naval academy in the Donghuang region must have strong faculty and teaching abilities. Coming from such an academy is also considered a qualification. Prince Eugen nodded deeply and added. Moreover, Qinghai City is very large with a large population, and there are also many commanders and ship attendants. Perhaps we can find some companions from the port area there. Qingshi is full of hope for this. Well, that makes sense, it's very likely. So, our next stop is Qinghai City. Just. Eugen, haven't you met any other companions from our same port area nearby before? Prince Eugen shook his head regretfully. However, there was none. The most recent time was to meet Omaha and several other White Eagle sisters of Omaha level in other waters before coming to Donghuang. Upon hearing the name Omaha, Qingshi immediately began to recall it. If he remembers correctly, it seems like the White Eagle Squadron's White Light Patrol, and the Omaha-class ship maidens are not particularly outstanding, so the impression is not particularly profound. But no matter what, she is also a girl from her own port area, and Qingshi is inevitably worried, so she asked Prince Eugen. Omaha and the others. When did you meet them, Eugen? How are they now? While recalling, Prince Eugen calmly replied. 4 months ago, I encountered them in the Indian Ocean. When we met, they were running commissions to make money. Because our destination was completely different, we just chatted briefly before leaving. If I remember correctly, they are in good condition. I also asked where they live. It seems like Daifu City, which should be a famous tourist area, right? Daifu City. Qingshi muttered about this place name while silently remembering it in his heart. He is really not sure where this place is. After all, this world has many similarities with his original world, but there are also many differences, and he cannot accurately determine the location based solely on the name. After taking note of this place, Qingshi continued to ask. What about the iron-blooded Bismarck and the others? Didn't you say you separated from them 6 months ago? Where were they 6 months ago? And now they are there again. Looking at Qingshi like this, Prince Eugen seemed to be somewhat dissatisfied with his commanding officer always talking about other girls when he went on dates with him, but she still answered. Is the commander looking for Bismarck and the others? Don't think about it. Why? There aren't many Bismarcks either, and they're not fixed in one place. They search for you in different areas every 1 or 2 months. When we argued and parted ways, they were in an iron-blooded area. Upon hearing this, Qingshi wilted. Half a year ago, Bismarck and his companions were in the Iron Blood region. Not to mention how far away the Iron Blood region was, they would have changed places every 1 or 2 months, and now they have traveled thousands of miles to find it, which is very likely that they will not be able to find it. Suddenly, Qingshi realized. Wait, if that's the case. Eugen, half a year ago you were still on the iron-blooded side. In the past 6 months, haven't you crossed the Atlantic and Indian Oceans, coming all the way here to find me? Prince Eugen nodded. It's too hard. Why are you running so far? Eugen Prince's rightful answer is. Because Commander, you are from Donghuang. I just thought that compared to other regions, Commander, are you more likely to stay in the Donghuang area? So I came here. So. Qingshi looked at Prince Eugen with emotion. In theory, you're not the only one with such thoughts, are you? Of course, when you just disappeared, the sisters in the port area focused on finding the Donghuang area. Unfortunately, no matter how they found you, we couldn't find you everywhere. Upon hearing these words, a deep sense of guilt surged into Qingshi's heart. Ah. It's really hard for you guys. Prince Eugen looked at Qingshi with a hint of drunkenness, his eyes flashing inexplicably. There's no way. Who made us stand up for a commander like you? Who made us ship women? Who made us never abandon our own commander? The relationship between the ship mother and the commander is always so unfair. Qingshi nodded deeply, and at this moment, he once again strengthened his heart to find everyone back. So, eating, drinking, and chatting casually, the dinner between Qingshi and Prince Eugen came to an end. After dinner, the two of them, who were both slightly drunk, accompanied each other back to the hotel suite. After returning this time, the two of them didn't do anything else, just snuggled together and slept peacefully. On the second day after waking up, Qingshi and Prince Eugen had already made relevant decisions, and their next plan was to go to Qinghai City. Generally speaking, there are two modes of transportation to travel from Shanghai City to Qinghai City. The first is by train, and the second is by cruise. Although airplanes are a form of transportation, most aircraft routes in the world only fly on land and inland routes, not to mention sea routes. There are no routes near the coastline, in order to avoid siren attacks as much as possible. After discussing with Prince Eugen and considering various aspects such as safety, convenience, comfort, and speed, Qingshi ultimately decided to take a cruise ship to Qinghai City. Kneeling to beg for flowers and monthly tickets to give as a reward, pleading deeply,